Welcome back to today's Explainer. I'm Mr. Rita Adel, and we are jumping straight into a massive deep dive of Unit 3.1 for all you secondary students out there. We're going to break this material down so comprehensively that you'll know exactly how to crush this topic on your upcoming exams. Let's get to it.
What you're seeing right now is the exact textbook page we're tackling today, all about navigating our screen-saturated world. We're going to go through these research questions and discussion tasks step by step. By the time we're done, you'll be completely prepared for whatever the test throws at you.
Here's the agenda for today. 1. The screen time dilemma. 2. Gaming, passion or addiction. 3. Finding your digital balance. 4. Mastering key unit vocabulary. And 5. Conquering your final tasks.
Let's kick things off with Section 1, the screen time dilemma, social media and self-image.
7. Yep, 7 hours. That massive number represents the average time teenagers today spend just staring at screens. And here's the absolute kicker you need to memorize for your exams. This does not even include time spent on screens for schoolwork. We are talking about 7 hours of purely recreational screen time every single day. Crazy, right?
So what's actually happening during those 7 hours? Well, the text explicitly outlines the negative impacts of social media platforms, like Instagram and TikTok. Basically, these apps expose young minds to completely unrealistic stereotypes. And you know what that leads to? Negative social comparisons. It's when you constantly compare your own behind-the-scenes life to someone else's carefully edited highlight reel. For your exams, remember that this continuous comparison is directly linked to increased feelings of anxiety, loneliness, and even depression.
All right, moving right along to Section 2, gaming, passion or addiction.
Now, looking at this reading passage on gaming, I want you to remember something crucial. The exam questions aren't just going to ask if gaming is simply bad. No way. They're going to require you to critically weigh its actual merits against its dangers, based strictly on the text.
So, let's break that down. On the positive side, the text notes that gaming can actually develop your problem-solving skills, improve hand-eye coordination, and really foster teamwork. But the negative risks? They're severe. Gaming becomes a real problem when it turns addictive and starts interfering with sleep, schoolwork, and your real-world relationships. Oh, and here is a vital fact to lock into your brain right now. The World Health Organization officially recognized gaming disorder as a mental health condition in 2019. Not 2020, not 2021, 2019. Got it?
Okay, Section 3, finding your digital balance.
We've talked about the problems. Now for the solutions. And listen up, because if there's one highly probable exam question in this unit, it is absolutely this, the 20-20-20 rule. You need to memorize this exactly. Step 1, every 20 minutes of screen time. Step 2, look at something 20 feet away. Step 3, do this for at least 20 seconds. This is a proven technique recommended by experts to reduce stress and restore your mental focus. You literally need to have this memorized exactly as it's laid out.
Beyond that rule, the text gives us some really solid advice for setting boundaries. First, avoid phones for a full hour before sleep. Second, establish screen-free times during meals so you can actually connect with your family. Third, practice mindful screen use, which basically means being consciously aware of what you're doing online instead of just zombie scrolling. And finally, balance all that screen time with regular physical activity. The text guarantees that young people who do this feel more in control, less anxious, and have a much more fulfilling leisure life.
Which brings us to Section 4. Mastering key unit vocabulary. You'll probably recognize this vocabulary matching exercise straight from page 67. Understanding the core concepts is great and all, but if you don't know the exact English vocabulary, the exam is going to trip you up. So let's decode the trickiest words right now. Let's do a rapid-fire breakdown. First, replicate. This means to copy something exactly or produce something similar. Think about how social media tries to replicate real-life social interactions, but, usually does a pretty poor job of it. Next is interfere. This means to affect a situation in a negative way or stop something from working properly. Remember our gaming text? It specifically warned that gaming can interfere with sleep and schoolwork.
Moving on, we have fulfilling. This simply means making you feel happy, satisfied, and complete. A fulfilling leisure life is exactly what you get when you balance your digital habits. Then we have mindful, which means paying conscious attention to the present moment. So rather than mindless scrolling, the text strongly advocates for mindful screen use. Really understanding the subtle differences between these words is your golden ticket to acing the reading comprehension.
And wrapping up our vocab, we have boundaries. These are limits or rules that show what is acceptable or allowed.
tying it right back to the advice we just talked about. Setting screen-free meal times is a perfect real-world example of setting healthy boundaries.
All right, time to put that deep knowledge to the ultimate test. What we're looking at is the comprehension check page from your book. It features a true, false, or not given logic puzzle. Now, this specific format trips students up all the time, but we're going to master the logic together right now so you don't fall into the trap.
Let's walk through this systematically. Statement 1. Teenagers spend 7 hours on screens, including school. The answer? False. Why? Because the exact justification from the text says this average does not include school time. Statement 2. Social media use is linked to anxiety and loneliness. That one is true, and it's directly stated right there in the first paragraph. Statement 3. WHO recognized gaming disorder in 2021. False again. As I warned you a minute ago, the text specifically says 2019. The golden rule here? Always rely strictly on the text, not your outside assumptions when you're justifying your answers.
Almost done, guys. Section 5. Conquering your final tasks. Notice exactly what the presentation prompts are asking of you. You aren't just summarizing here. You absolutely must use evidence from the reading to express your opinions, contrast different viewpoints, like the pros and cons of gaming, and come to a logically reasoned conclusion.
And then we have your writing task. You're required to write 5 sentences evaluating a really complex prompt. Something like, to what extent is screen time more harmful than beneficial for teenagers? The trick here? Use the exact vocabulary we just mastered. Weave in words like interfere, mindful, and boundaries to make your sentences academically rock-solid and perfectly aligned with the textbook.
So, I want to end today's explainer with a really provocative question, pulled right from the spirit of your curriculum, but applied directly to your own lives. What is the best way for Egyptian teenagers to balance screen time with offline activities in our unique culture? As you start your writing tasks, I want you to seriously think about how things like the 20-20-20 rule or screen-free family meals fit into your actual daily life here. Remember, mastering this text isn't just about passing an exam. It's about learning how to successfully navigate your own screen-saturated world. Thank you so much for joining me. Study hard, and I will see you next time.